My question is that in this election, we know that Awami League is not in here, so how do you think that it's the impact of this election? Awami League is not here, so we saw that referendum, more than 30% of referendum ballot were cast as no. So how do you think that its impact for particularly Awami League or any other reason? And we know that you all deployed 64 districts to your observer for observing. So what is their observation?
Thank you. My name is Somoyer Sathe Agamir. I work for Channel 24. I'm here, Excellency. Yeah, I see you. It's really interesting because for the last few years we've been hearing our election was not credible. The things we are saying, it's really causing a pain in my stomach because it seems our elections is quite acceptable. Anyways, jokes apart. So what I really want to know, what are the biggest, as it's a more participatory comparing the last few elections. So was there any place that was really concerning and that can be rearranged or sort of redesigned for the next election as an example?
And now we have the third question on that corner, please.
Hi, I'm Tanveer Chaudhary with Al Jazeera English TV. I have two interlaced questions. One of the key observations you all made about women's participation, 4% during the election, although the country has been ruled by 35 years by women. What exactly specifically would you say the reason for limited participation? Was there some sort of limitation from the system or the governance process or the institution itself? My second question is, one of the two largest parties, which is the Awami League, was conspicuously absent in this election, and they have a loyalist supporter at least between 18 to 20%. Would you make a comment on that, if you don't mind?
Yes, thank you very much for all those relevant questions. As for the first question about what could be rearranged and what could be redesigned, I think that the women's participation is probably the issue that is of the greatest concern, according to our observers. As for the very understanding of why is this important, democracy, this is really about civic equality, when each and every Bangladeshi citizen can participate both as a voter and as a candidate, and of course in campaigning and so on and so forth. And if we see here this balance, this is basically hurting the decision-making of the Bangladeshi people themselves. And in that sense, I would just call the Bangladeshi authorities to implement what they have already agreed to do. Bangladesh is a part of the so-called Women's Convention, and which implies that the participation of women has to be enhanced and fostered. So we would just expect that these obligations are fulfilled. The question which was also asked by two of you, the question about the exclusion of a certain political party from this political process. Let me formulate like that. We are here to observe the elections. What we are interested in is the process of the elections. Transitional justice is an extremely painful and sensitive issue in many countries, including many European countries. But of course, elections is the way to move forward. And of course, what we have observed in these elections is that they have been hugely competitive, and that the choice presented to the voters with these 2,000 candidates has been considerable, and this sense, I think this is really a way forward for the Bangladesh democracy to go. As for what was asked by the colleague about the outcome of the referendum, I mean, but it is again, if you look at the result, one might say whether this is rather a convincing majority for a yes vote, but the European Union is usually not observing any referendums, so that's why this hasn't been at the center of our observation, because this is not our mandate. We are about elections. But at the same time, of course, we have understood and taken into account this context where the referendum plays a role. I have to say that, of course, the referendum vote has really given an obligation for the newly elected parliament and newly elected government, which is most probably going to be elected in the nearest future, to go on with the implementation of this reform agenda. Thank you very much.
Me, Shahaz, working with the Daily Observer, my question is to you, Mr. Evers. Anyway, my question is very specific. I just want to know your happiness or your observation about the election day turnout, the voters' turnout. How do you feel with the turnout? Do you see any difference between the election commission has been claimed or your observation? Because there are many media, even the social medias, they have also raised the issue. Thank you so much. And my next question is to you, whether you people are going to submit any final report after the violence or anything, the post-election. Anyway, thank you so much.
My name is Simon. I'm working in the daily color content of the leading newspaper in Bangladesh. My question is that you constantly are talking about the participatory election. So as we know that one of the country's major political party, Awami League, couldn't participate in this election. So in this regard, how this election can be considered as a participatory election and inclusive? Thank you.
Third question, second row here.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you. It's Simrul Kais. I work for private television channel. It's Bangla Vision. My question is about the turnout, what actually took place in our voting. Near about 60%. So is it acceptable to you, I mean the observer? And the another question is that you have mentioned that the counting, actually voting counting was very slow. So we have witnessed that you have been working with the election commission closely, providing technical supports and other supports. So why this counting is slow? Did you actually observe it? Thank you.
Thank you very much. First of all, addressing the question about the turnout, which also relates to what was asked by the colleague on my right. Well, as for the turnout, we all know that the turnout historically has been in Bangladesh both higher and lower. And in that sense, we really see, this particular outcome is striking a middle somehow. If you take general terms, we are not looking at turnout only as a number in terms of percentage. Because you all know that in many democratic countries, for example in Europe, in most countries, including my own, the turnout is shrinking. In some countries it's bigger, in some countries it's lower. This is a great concern for all democracies, I have to say. But what is important, this is not just about numbers. Turnout is very much also on participation, and this is the answer to your question, is whether all relevant groups in society are taking part in the election, and no one is excluded from participation. And that's why, as I just said, the participation in this sense really includes all political groups and all the social groups that have their interest to express in those elections. And in that sense, I would say that the turnout is not the only thing to take into account when speaking about participatory elections. What was the third question?
First we answered.
Okay. Yep.
The third was about the counting.
Oh, the counting of the votes. This is, of course, also of great interest to us, and we will, just as that was said in my introductory remarks, we are not leaving the country now. You will be all given, on, I suppose, online our preliminary report after this press conference, which would explain on many of the things that have been mentioned in my speech, but the final report is going to be presented in a 2-month time, something like late April, early May, when we really gather all the implementation, all the information, when we consolidate all our findings, and this is where we come back also with recommendations for the Bangladesh authorities. Thank you very much.
Hello, sir. It's Danziman Hor. I'm from our state-owned news agency. So you have mentioned that you observed the counting as a process as well, and we know that the last night Jamaat led alliances alleged regarding the counting system, especially two seats in Dhaka. They alleged that there was rigging and kind of election engineering. What's your observation about that regarding that allegations? Thank you.
Yes, I'm Imran from Daily Diganto. My question is related to previous my colleague. Is it working?
Yeah, it is. It is.
It is working.
We didn't see you.
Okay, no problem. So yesterday, the 11-party alliance held a press briefing where they brought allegation against the election commission on the result manipulation, specifically Dhaka 18 and Dhaka 13. In this constituency, and a post-election violence against their workers and supporters. What's your observation on it?
Okay.
Hello, my name is Isha Jahanamurmi. I work for DBC News. My question is again in a voter turnout. Do you have any statistics on what percentage of minorities vote, and do you think it's tiny? If it is tiny, so what's the reason behind it, or it's natural? Voter is coming naturally. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, the third one. These were already. It was three. Well, yeah, thank you. First of all, about whether we observed any signs of fraud or ballot stuffing and so on and so forth. I say you with full responsibility that there was no direct observation of fraud or ballot stuffing. Of course, we observed some irregularities taking place, but this wasn't, this is not coming up to such allegations. I think that the things you mentioned about certain polling stations and certain constituencies, I think that right now all of us should pay attention to the appeal process and whether these appeals and complaints are being handled in a legal and transparent way. And this is what, if you have any issues with regards of a particular constituency, then these should be really solved according to the procedure which is there. And of course, we still expect that the Bangladesh authorities will solve those issues as transparently and as fast as possible. Thank you very much. And the second issue about the minorities turnout, you might ask some questions regarding that to particular constituencies, and this is where you can also maybe draw some conclusions. Well, in our final report, we will report on that we were distributed, just as it was said, all across the country. And we were talking also to indigenous communities, to other religious and ethnic communities, and they of course sometimes expressed their, let's say, concerns regarding this procedure. But this is going to be mentioned in our final report. Thank you.